So my name is Hiren. I'm a customer success manager at WebEngage.
And I'm Neha.
Yes.
And I work with Times Pro, which is again an edtech firm. And we've been having a lot of edtech talk today. So one more from edtech.
Yes. So basically, we wanted to talk about, the concept of personalization, right? And to begin with, I just want to ask you guys first, typically, how many apps do we have on the phone today? Like, on average, like what, 40 to 60? Am I right? Is that right? Right? So basically 40 to 60 is a lot of apps, right? And that means that you might be receiving a sea of messages every day. And that creates a lot of distraction for everyone, right? It's very difficult, and there's where the challenge lies for a marketeer to understand and identify how do I make a mark for my brand or business, right? By sending the right communication. And there's where basically personalization comes in, right? So, multiple brands is equal to multiple distractions. Now you must be signing up to various apps, websites, platforms, and you get a lot of communications from all of them, right? And how do we basically ensure that we make a mark and stand out from the crowd, right? And that's where basically we talk about personalization, and we'll deep dive into it right away. Before basically, we basically understand the copies here. I just wanted to understand from you guys. Quickly take a look. Take 1 minute to read all 3 copies and understand what do you think which is the most effective, communication out of the 3. Take a minute, read it out, see what do you think about the copies here, and what do you feel? Which copy is the most effective? First, second, or third? Any answers? Second. Okay. Any other answers? Only 2 people actually spoke out. No one else? First. Okay. Interesting. What about the third one? Okay. So basically, if we talk about the 3 copies here, the first one is pretty generic, right? There's no personalization here. It just talks about an offer, which is probably, generic to all the entire audience of a particular brand, right? When we talk about the third one, there is still a little bit of personalization there with the first name. Like it says Ankur, the more the merrier. But again, the offer is more generic towards, the platform. But if you talk about the second copy here, it is hyper-personalized. It has the first name, but it also understands what the user has done in the past. If you see the past behavior of the user, he's probably searched for something on that restaurant. He wanted to basically place an order, but eventually did not, right? And that's where the personalization comes in and basically tries to nudge the user to complete that order for the user, right? So the second copy is going to be the, basically standout one here, which is going to get you the, right traction from the communication, right? So basically there are 2 major aspects of, getting an engaged user or basically a happy user in the end. First, we do segmentation. Like all the marketers would know here that segmentation is basically, trying to get the right target audience, and basically in terms of, what is the last, for example, like, you want to just send out the communication to people who have not purchased in the last 7 days, right? And then on top of that, add a personalization layer, right? Basically with that particular audience that you've, targeting, basically you try and reach out to each user in a personalized manner in trying to understand what they've browsed in the past, what product they were looking for, and exactly use those variables and attributes which you basically capture through your events today, right? And use those elements in your copies and communication and combine the both of them, segmentation plus the personalization aspects, which is when you'll actually get an engaged user out of it and a happy user. Another example here, just to basically, highlight like, what difference can it make? Like, for example, the one on the left, as you can see, is again a very generic, copy or generic communication that, a brand is sending out. But as compared to the right one there, you see a lot of, other personalization elements being used. The first name being used, some other attributes like language being used, also a rich media element being used. So all those different aspects come in the picture when you're trying to personalize the content, right? Let's, break it down, each copy, and see what else could have been done here. So for this particular brand, which is a language app, the first copy is, like I said, very generic. There is no first name there. We are basically just using hey there. So this is a post sign-up acknowledgement. It has an on-click action CTA, but there is no reach media. There is no other level of, personalization in terms of, what the user has signed up for. And basically, if he's already, looked for any courses, there is no personalization angle there. And also there is no other personalization elements that have been included here. But if we talk about this next copy, we can see a lot of other, elements been included here. To start off with, the first very basic aspect is using the first name of the user, right? Address the user by the name. And then probably while signing up, you've captured certain interest of the user. Like, for example, for this app, you must have tried understanding what what languages is he interested in, right? And in this particular case, it is German. So we use that aspect. We basically touch upon that by using those variables, and also basically include a rich media. You basically add an image there, which is again along with an on-click action CTA, and then also use that as to take the users a step ahead and ask them to basically explore the app already by guiding them in the right direction and telling them what exactly can be done after this, right? So this is where the personalization elements make a lot of difference for the marketeers. For the next slide, I think I'll let Neha take it.
Thanks. Thanks, Hiren. So I think personalization is the first step, but then getting the content right is very, very important. So, I mean, if you've personalized, giving you an example, you're a vegetarian, you use Swiggy or you use Zomato, you tend to order vegetarian food, and you're getting a notification of a deal on chicken biryani. It's not relevant, right? So, relevance is absolutely critical as personalization. So, we need to look at what we are communicating to what segment of users. So Hiren mentioned about segmentation. This is where the relevance will come in. You will define the segmentation basis. What is it that you want to communicate? So if you're on Amazon and you're a woman and you're being given offers for men's shoes, it's not relevant. So stuff like that. So
yeah.
So, this is precisely what we're talking about. You can't have one size fits all for anyone. It has to be very defined. Your segments have to be very defined. Your offers for each of the segments have to be very defined. Segmentation can be done in multiple ways. You can do it basis their user profile. You can do basis behavior. You can do basis demographics. You can do multiple ways of segmentation. But personalizing it for each segment is very, very important. Now, these are just some of the examples of segmentation, So you're an app user, you're trying to give an instant offer, you're trying to retain the consumer from leaving the app. From your backend perspective, what are you doing? All the active users on the app, you want to send an in-app notification. What's the notification? You're personalizing it. You have a first name over there. You're clearly indicating what is the reward, what is in it for them. And it has to be interesting, because like Hiren was mentioning, there are about 60 apps. And we also have our email notifications, our WhatsApps, our SMSs, all of that apart, So if you need to catch attention, this is very, very important. I mean, if you take an example, if both of us are talking, if I'm using his name when I'm talking, that itself makes so much difference. So when you talk in digital context, it's even more relevant. So this is just one of the examples, and this is another example of how you can segment. So if a user, so I'm from EdTech, I have a large scale, a large bouquet of products in upskilling. I have a consumer who's a 25-year-old who's probably looking for a project management program. I also have a 45-year-old who's coming to me for a senior management or a leadership program. I can't talk to both of them the same way. I can't give them the same offers. I also, the tone of the messaging, everything needs to be very, very different. So this is another. So what is the category of user you're talking to? That's just one of the other examples, user attributes. It could be very, very industry specific. Every industry has their own attributes. I'm giving an example of my industry, but, every industry has a user profiling. So this is really important when we're talking about a personalized messaging.
Thanks, Neha. Going ahead, basically, we also want to understand how is it different from, while your segmentation doing segmenting and probably sending out your email campaigns or any other channel campaigns, right? And then you add a layer of personalization on top of it. Like, when you do segmentation, you try and identify a pool of users that you want to reach out to, right? The target audience that you call it. But does it help you if you don't have any personalization layers on top of it? It doesn't, because when you send a copy like that, like continue your flight booking now at 15% off, you're actually reaching out to a mass audience again. And you're not personalizing it to exactly what the user was looking for, right? As compared to the other example on the left, when you add a personalization layer on top of that, you basically take an example where a user visits your website and is looking for a flight, right? On a specific day, but he doesn't really actually book the flight. So this example here is probably to, nudge the user to go ahead and do the booking, right? Where we are using the first name, but we are also using what exactly did he search for, which destination he was looking for, and what date was he looking for to book the flight. And for some reason he dropped off, and which is where we get the basically the discounting part come in and appeal the users to basically go for that booking, right? So this is where the personalization layer helps you to engage your user better and make a better user experience out of it. Another few examples, again, try and maximize your personalization as much as possible, because that again maximizes the relevance out of your campaigns. Like, two examples here again. One of the users is looking for a marketing course, other one is looking for a content strategy course. Now, both there are just like Neha was also mentioning, user attributes are really important. While you are sending your events, the attributes inside your events, the properties are really important. So you pass as many details or data to the tool that you're using, and you use all those attributes to personalize. It will be the best output in the end. You will get the best engagement out of the campaign as well. So that's the importance of maximizing your personalization as much as possible from the data that you pass into the tools. Talking about evolution of personalization, and if you talk about back in the day, probably in 2017, using just the first name was really a big thing, right? We are personalizing the content by using just the name of the user. But we have come really a long way from there. We have evolved. Now we use different aspects of talk user along with the signed up post that he's had, right? And show recommendations, which is right now, as you can see in the image as well. Probably that will also add another level of personalization for that user, right? For the slides, I'll let
So, I mean, like Hiren was saying, first name, if you've used, it used to be Nirvana. Okay. I mean, we've come to a level that even if you don't use a name, but you can create the right context with the right messaging, that is also very, very effective. So what is it that you can personalize? I mean, first name we've been discussing. If you're in e-commerce, you can have your cart item, or you can have the pricing personalized, or you can have the discounted pricing personalized, or you can have offers. Or again, I'll give you a real world example. So we have a bunch of courses in banking. Okay. Now, for each of these courses, there's a different eligibility. If I know who the student is, and if I know what's the relevant course for him, I can just suggest, I know you're 25-year-old. I know you have, I mean, you're from Bangalore, or you have so much percentage in your 10. So this is the program which is relevant for you. If you're able to get to that level of personalization, that is what will, I mean, then you don't need a sales team. You can just have them send the message, and that's going to drive your conversion. So defining these elements, what are the elements which you're going to personalize? Tracking those elements, trackable elements is what you need to choose as personalization. So, I mean, as an organization, for example, a couple of years back, we had an issue where we weren't getting the first name right from some of our campaigns. Everybody has different formats. Every platform has a different format. So, and that's where you can't go wrong. You can't address a person by a wrong name. So we chose to drop that as a part of our messaging. So we've done that as well. So it obviously has to be custom tailored to your needs, but you can define, I mean, this could be a long list of the elements. So, I mean, we were talking about segmentation a few slides back, right? And I mentioned that there could be multiple things. I think all of us know it could be demographic, it could be behavioral, it could be engagement, technology, learner life cycle. I mean, I keep calling it learner because we deal with learner, but life cycle state. So whatever it is, so it could be your segmentation could be on various levels, or it could be a combination of these. So that's, you need to define what fits best for your business and your outcomes. And of course, there are a lot of ways you're going to reach the customer. So we keep talking about app notifications. Now, we as an organization, we don't have an app. Okay. So we talk to a consumer either through email or through SMS or probably through on-site, on website notifications. So again, defining which channel is the most effective for you. We've also realized that for a certain kind of audiences, emails work. For a certain kind of audiences, email doesn't work. It's only the website notifications that work. So it is a trial and error process. We need to define what works, get the optimum plan for your particular use case, and then create the campaigns.
Yes. So basically, I think Neha covered all the different communication channels that we usually use to basically reach out to your users, and how do we personalize with those channels as well. But we forget one very important point, that whenever you use these channels, we eventually redirect your users to the website or the app, right, which is your primary platform, right? And we tend to basically not keep that in consideration, that we can personalize your website as well, because we have this new product offering called web personalization, as you all must have already been aware of, where you can actually use different banners as properties, and placeholders which can be replaced using the website personalization feature that we've recently added. I'll just talk a little bit about that as well. Now, basically, as you can see the images as well, you can see the banner on the right, you can see these products on the left hand side as well. With web personalization, you get the power to basically actually replace a banner which is personalized to the users, again, past activity on the website, in the last 6 days, 7 days, whatever time period you choose to select. And you can properly, it is not going to act as a pop-up, which is kind of a very, intrusive sort of a, way to reach out to your users. It's kind of a pop-up. It's really annoying for a user who's actually browsing, and you get a pop-up, and you actually have to basically dismiss it and all. This feature, or basically gives you that ability to properly make it really native to your website. It's a very natural part of the website. It is not popping up. It is basically something that is used as a placeholder, which is defined as a property on WebEngage, and which can be replaced. You can add some banners on top of another banner, or beside, beneath as well. So all those different aspects can be reached out, and all these customization that we already spoke about in terms of the demographic, in terms of the gender, right? For example, if you talk about e-commerce, like Neha gave the example of, you cannot show a female men's shoes, right? Similarly, this particular feature can be used to use that personalization perfectly, where you want to show a specific sort of an apparel for female in your banners with the name, probably with the region as well, if you want to define it. All those different aspects can be covered in web personalization, along with a segmentation. That is the usual thing that you do with all the campaigns here. So website personalization is a really powerful feature that we have. And now recently we've also added app personalization. So the similar thing is now available on app as well. And those two are your primary platforms where you want your users to communicate the most, engage the most, right? And that's where this particular feature is really standing out. So I definitely would appeal to all the existing customers or prospects, anyone, that we probably look at this feature also in the coming future, and try and basically explore this even further. And what are the advantages? Basically, it's a seamless user experience. Like I said, we take out the whole element of those pop-ups and blockers. It's a very seamless user experience. You have the personalized content. Again, like I said, you can use it with the geolocation based segmentation. You can use it gender specific. You can use it for different aspects in terms of age and other behavioral activities that a user performs on the website. And again, like I said earlier as well, audiences is something that you can always define using this feature as well. But this is mostly around personalization on different levels in terms of the channels, in terms of what all different variables and properties we can use to customize and personalize as much to increase your stickiness, to increase and boost your conversions and etc. So yeah, this is mostly about it. Thank you guys. I hope you liked it.
Any questions?
Any questions? Any feedback?
The future.
For web personalization, it's already live. So basically, you just have to integrate. I think immediately there is nothing. You just have to upgrade your SDK, and there is this aspect of defining your properties on the website is something that is required, and it doesn't take more than.
But you must be needing a product feed or real time. How do we keep a check on the stock or?
Yeah, so we're talking about recommendations along with the web personalization as well.
Yes.
For that, we have a recommendation algorithm that we've built, which we basically integrate as well. I think it should not take more than a week or so to basically align if you have the product catalog and feed ready, which can be passed on to WebEngage, we can really probably add that into the algorithm that we already have in the backend and basically, merge it.
Okay, a week or 15 days, right?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not really sure about that. But we can take this question offline. Probably I can, connect with you later. Yeah. Yes.
Does this personalization thing, does it blend well with the website UX and theme and everything?
Yes, absolutely. Basically, you will be, so our tech team is also basically working with your team to basically ensure that, all the rough edges are smoothened out and basically, they'll do all the heavy lifting as well. So we have now made the UI also available in the WebEngage dashboard itself, where you can also customize, it is also basically, going to optimize your resolution of the images, etc. that you upload on the tool itself. So all those things are taken care of by the team as well.
Okay, I would love to see a demo of this.
Sure. Why not?
I'm a WebEngage user for past 3 years.
Oh, nice. Super.
I've never explored this feature.
Yeah, we can pass on the demo video to you.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
One more question. So when you say geolocation, so can I assume that I can build a cohort the people who have a frequent visitor of any sports complex or any fitness and show them a very personalized manner?
It's more to do with the city and the geography that they are.
Nothing around it.
No, basically not.
Okay. I had a question. So we are saying about focusing a lot on personalization, but how much personalization is too much personalization? Because we want to engage with the customer, but we don't want to sound creepy. Okay.
Right.
So is there a benchmark or limit which you guys follow?
It basically depends on a lot of factors. It also differs from industry to industry, use case to use case as well, right? And a lot of users come with this question, and we usually tell them to do a lot of A/B testing to begin with, because that's the initial approach that we take with all our campaigns and copies that we run, right? And I think with the initial set of use cases that you run, you definitely get a very good idea of what is working, what is not working. If it is too much personalization, also it does not work, right? But that also is something that we can achieve from A/B testing, multi-variate testing that we do.
And I had another question. It's that personalization beyond the first name. So beyond the first name is basically the recommendation part, or giving suggestions based on the behavioral
Not just that, but like we saw examples of exactly.
Yeah.
If we have the segmentation correct, and probably we have the first name, which is the most basic element of personalization. But basis what custom events that you're capturing with WebEngage, you try and basically also understand what all user actions have been performed on the website, right? For example, a user has viewed a product, a specific product. You're capturing that event. Along with that, you're also capturing the other attributes inside that event. Which product was it? The URL of that product, the details, the pricing, etc. Right? All those elements can also be used as a personalization in your copies. Similarly, for an edtech, you are looking for a course, and you basically actually browse for a course and view that course details. You will also capture all those elements inside those courses, right? The course details in terms of the duration, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the other aspects of a course, right? All those variables can again be used while you're using those commands in your.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, there's.
I'm not sure if this is there now. I wanted to know, can you also personalize for channels? For example, optimize for channels. Okay. How do I does WebEngage tell me that, hey, this user is more reachable on this channel?
Yeah, we have a channel reachability option that we showcase on one of the pages that we have on the dashboard.
Okay. Never tried that.
We can try that again right now later.
Yeah, also we have best channel. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about that as well. And then we have this one more feature that we recently also introduced was send time optimization. Basically, use your campaigns to send your campaigns intelligently to people who have shown the which the channel has been most effective for the user. So use that channel as basically and use those feature to actually send it to the user in that particular time frame as well.
I think preferred channel best works in journeys as well.
Yes.
You can try that out.
Right.
Okay. Hi. So I have one question here. So my, the question is more on a valid use case, but it might be a corner case as well. But what do you do? How do you personalize when the application or the website is being used by multiple people at the same time? I'll just give you a valid example. Let's say it's a streaming platform and I'm going to go Hotstar. I don't know why it is recommending Anupama to me where I don't watch that particular, genre of things at all. So how do you, cater to that hyper personalization when you understand from behavior that, hey, look, this particular user, it might be more than one particular user using this particular account. Do you have any such sort of a feature or understanding that you can
talking specifically about Netflix example?
Not just Netflix, also like say Swiggy also.
But in that case, I think you still have different profiles that you can use. So each profile will have a user.
Fair, but let's say Swiggy also.
Right.
Like say me and 3-4 other people use the same Swiggy. Right,
same account.
Yes, the same account, right? Yeah.
Then I think it's a difficult job to personalize it there. Yeah, because we consider it as one user itself, right?
I think just to add to that, I'm not sure how true this is, but some brands, for example, in the airline industry,
right,
when you're booking a flight ticket, it asks you essentially for which person are you booking. Sometimes.
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah.
So when you're booking an airline ticket,
right,
okay, the apps looking at your transaction history also asks you for which person are you booking. It could be a sister, brother, father, mother. That could be another layer of personalization.
Right.
Similarly, in Swiggy, there's a feature it asks you if you're sending the food to someone.
Oh yes.
Okay, so that could be another layer of personalization.
Yeah.
And Invent can capture that and then personalize based on those sub attributes.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
Yeah. I mean, if you have that kind of data capture,
exactly.
Then of course,
yes, absolutely. Right.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.